Hey everybody, welcome to another indie horror film creative interview. Today I'm here with actor, soon to become a director, Tony Mardon. Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Are you hot and bothered like me?
I'm hot and slightly sweaty and muggy.
Yep, it's
And
lovely.
yeah,
It's lovely.
I've got this. I probably shouldn't be wearing black, but I was out all day yesterday, and I don't really plan on going out much today. So it's a day indoors, I think,
Yeah, don't blame me.
getting stuff done.
Well, by the sounds of things, it won't be long until you'll be locking down again, innit?
Oh,
Anyway, so.
don't. I know. Don't get me started.
So we'll step away from the real world. We'll go into the imaginary world of filmmaking. So, how did you first get into filmmaking? That's your first question.
Into filmmaking, well, I don't know if I have yet. I'm trying.
Well, the actor side of it, then the
Oh,
actor
the
side,
actor
then
side.
and the
Okay, well,
filmmaking of it.
okay, that's easier. I mean, I've always really loved films, and my love has always been horror.
Yeah,
So if we go right back to sort of earlier memories, would be coming down on a Sunday morning, having recorded the sort of the Hammer double bill, the Amicus double bill the night before on a
yeah.
Saturday, and watching them with my mum on a Sunday morning. And I remember my mum one day saying, I think the Hammer logo came up, and I remember her saying, "Oh, it's a Hammer film. It's going to be good then."
Hmm.
And then that kind of got me hooked. And then that was always dependent on whether we'd set the video timer correctly
Yeah,
or rewound the tape to the beginning. We'd get halfway through the film and it would cut out or something.
or trying to find a blank tape to actually use. Get a bit of
Exactly.
sellotape to put over the recording bit.
That's it. That's exactly it. Yeah. Do you know what? I remember once being halfway through Vampire Circus. That was always stuck in my mind. And then not watching the end of it. And I was like, oh, because it's still one of my favourites. I've seen the end now a few times.
I was going to say, how long was it until you actually got round to
I
seeing the
don't know.
end?
I mean, I just remember it. One of those things where I was really enjoying it. Probably didn't quite. I was young, obviously. Probably didn't quite understand everything that was going on, because it's a little bit more of a surreal entry, isn't it? To
Yeah.
the Hammer films. But I just remember being in love with the visuals and
Yeah.
the atmosphere of it, and thinking I don't even then. I don't know how old I was. Probably 8, 9, 10, something like
Hmm.
that. Thinking I don't really want this to end. Even though I didn't fully understand the narrative totally. But anyway, so back to your question, in a roundabout sort of way. So yeah, always I've grown up loving film and horror films, and then I became a teacher, art teacher, and then through a friend, a friend's friend was directing a film called Gangsters, Guns and Zombies, Matt
Yeah.
Mitchell. And he said, "Oh, he's looking for extras. Do you fancy it?" And I was like, "Yeah, what, be a zombie for a couple of days? Of course I do." So I did that, and I really enjoyed it, and I got featured quite a lot. And then, funnily enough, I live in Whitstable, and some of it was being filmed in Whitstable, so that was just perfect as well.
Hmm.
Some of it South East London, then Whitstable. So I got featured quite a bit in that. And then I thought, well, I could. That was voluntary.
Yeah.
And then I looked at how do extras actually make money. So I joined a few agencies,
Hmm.
and then from there I did a few bits and pieces. Been in the usuals, Holby and EastEnders,
Yeah.
and then a bit more, some more exciting stuff like Pennyworth and Spider-Man and stuff.
I was
But
going to say, yeah, that's seeing Spider-Man's on your IMDb.
yeah, that was just extras work. That was but it was good fun. It was on. I don't know if you've seen it. It was the Tower Bridge scene when
Yeah.
Far From Home, where the bus flips over, and I was just running around. I mean,
It's,
I've
it's,
never
it's,
seen it, so I don't even know if I'm in it,
I
to
was,
be honest.
I was going to say, it's still cool. You can say, I was in a Marvel film.
Yeah, exactly. I did. Do you know what? Interestingly, a few months ago, Venom 2, I was Stephen Graham's double. So it was cool. I was up at Warner Studios, but on the second day, the AD came in and said, "Oh, they scrapped your scene." I was like, "Oh." So
There's
that was
always
that. But
There's always Spider-Man.
there's always Spider-Man to fall. There's always Marvel. There's always Marvel. Mm. So from there, I really enjoyed it, but I was frustrated because I was watching all the actors,
Yeah.
um, and I just wanted to be one of them. So then another friend of mine, Tris Thompson, I don't know if you know him,
Yeah.
quite well known, yeah, in the horror sort of industry. And he said my friend Darren Ward is casting, and he showed me the the casting call for Beyond Fury.
Yeah.
And so I put out an audition tape, and essentially, cut a long story short, that I tried to. I got it. I got the part. So from there, that's where it all took off. So maybe about what, 4 years ago. And then I've just haven't really looked back. And then I've learned a lot. I had some lessons and some voice coaching and how to act, and not just sort of
hang around in the background kind of thing.
Hang around in the background, yeah. So yeah, so that's kind of how I got into it. And then I think through then my love of indie horror and British indie horror, people kind of, I suppose, took notice a little bit.
Yeah.
And started just putting me in little bits and pieces here and there, and here I am.
Well, it's a good thing about the British independent filmmaking company. Obviously, most people tend to know each other, so
yeah,
if you're in one film, someone will go, "Oh, I got this bit."
It was all new to me until I had a stall at the Horror on Sea Fest in Southend.
Yeah.
I thought, because I did a lot of I used to sell like Star Wars toys and vintage toys.
Yeah.
And then also did some horror conventions as well. And then I thought, I'll have a stall there, see what happens. And I had no idea that this whole independent film family existed, like Maiko and Alex and Sam and everyone, oh God, I probably left someone out now. No, I don't mean to, but all these people, and who know each other and work, closely. It was a real eye opener for me, and which was fantastic.
So you kind of went over what your first role was in regards to sort of bit parts, I suppose, but with the interesting name of, what was it, Eggshell Zombie, I believe that's what you were called.
That was when it all started. And my friend, I think, put me on IMDb, and we had just a friend. We had a bit of a running joke about eggshells. So I made him an omelette. No, I made him an omelette once. No, a scrambled egg once, and it had eggshell in it. So he just went on to IMDb and added me as Eggshell Zombie. So it's nothing to do with the part at all. I was a clown zombie in it, and I was a hospital gown wearing zombie in it, and I was a running zombie. Nothing to do with eggshells.
There you go. You've ruined the mythos behind the Eggshell Zombie name.
I feel like if I ever made another film, maybe there needs to be some sort of Eggshell Zombie in it.
Yeah.
I don't know how that will work exactly, but not that I'm ever going to make another film again because it's too stressful. But if I did, it would be about eggs and zombies.
Yes. So what has been your first sort of your meatier parts then? So you got lines and everything else like that.
Well, that was Beyond Fury. Yeah. Playing Travis. Then with a lot of people really well known in that sort of circuit, Danny Thompson, Gary Baxter, and Glenn Salvage. For Darren Ward, and he with Giovanni Lombardo Radici was in it. Yeah. I didn't have a scene with him, which was a bit of a shame, but so that was a great experience. But that was really the first time I'd had anything to do, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
So you've been doing it quite a while then, in terms of between your day job and everything else you've got going on, and it's trying to fit in. Obviously, acting. But is that something you're planning on possibly pursuing the acting part of it?
Well, yeah. I mean,
I've got away from things.
I've got a lot lined up acting wise. I've got what can I say? Mosaic with Alex and Mike, who did Ice Cream on the Beach. So I'm being that. And then I'm sure I can say, so I won't say much. I don't know much about it myself. But Sam Mason Bell has asked me if I put the possibility of being in something. And then there's something else I'm in that I can't mention because I think that's being revealed over the weekend coming. So I don't want to upset anyone by mentioning it too early. And then I did a film that's just completed called Black Lizard Tales, which was really good. So it was shot in black and white by a guy called James Newton. I've only just seen a few stills from it, and he sent me the link to the film, and I really enjoyed it. It's kind of sort of Mario Bava meets Jean Roland. I don't know. It's,
well, you mentioned Mario Bava, so I'm hooked already. So.
There you go. But it's really very stylishly filmed, black and white, and there's a nun in it, and you know it's really really interesting. I play another sleazy character. I don't know what it is. Like a Travis in Beyond Fury was sleazy. I was sleazy lecturer in this. I always seem to meet my comeuppance. Yeah, maybe I'm too good at playing sleazy and nasty.
Yeah, maybe you're the next Sean Bean. You have to start dying and everything you do now.
Yeah, I do die in most things. I like dying. It doesn't mean there's no sequel possibilities, but
No.
but I do like a good death scene.
So you did kind of go over what you've worked on or currently work on, but something I guess we could talk a little bit about is The Witches of the Sands, which will be your directorial debut, I believe.
Yeah, it's very scary when people say things like that to me. Because what happened was Sam Mason Bell asked me to direct a 15-minute short for an anthology, ghost hunting anthology, which I was talking to today. Unfortunately, that's kind of fallen by the wayside for a little bit. So it started off as that, and then a friend of mine. It's really unfortunate for him actually. It's Matt Westrup, his name is. He's a director and editor and CGI like expert. So he's CGI'd the Gorillaz World Tour and some of it anyway, responsible for that, and adverts and computer games and stuff. And he's so unfortunate because he literally lives there like 10 meters away from my house. So anyway, so I just we were just talking about it, and he said, "Well, I could do that for you." I don't want to give too much away. Some of the CGI and The Witches of the Sands, and then from there, that was his mistake, because from there it's just got bigger. The more he said he could do, then the more I started thinking I could do.
Yeah.
The more involved it got, then people started, contributing their music, and then costume, and then I've got these great cameramen, all sort of coming together. And all these great actors to help me out, And bear in mind, this is totally self-funded, and I've got no money. So it's all a little bit crazy, really. So yeah, but I think the lack of budget what you see on screen, it won't. I don't think it's going to show, because I've got all these people around me who are working.
Yeah.
Really hard to make it something really exciting, and I've got some guys doing some prosthetic monster, and Dave Fox, and things like that. So it's all got a bit scary, if I'm being honest, and kind of out of control. And then I find myself talking to people who I admired, from when I was a lot younger, like Eileen Dietz and Beverly Randolph from Return of the Living Dead. I actually love Return of the Living Dead. I think it's, it's kind of faultless for what it is. It's absolutely perfect. Like Reanimator, I put the two of them side by side, and as like a perfect double.
Good choices.
It is, isn't it? I mean, they're just perfect horror films in a fun way. Perfect at what they're intended for.
Yeah.
So talking to people like Beverly and Linnea, and then I was talking to Brink Stevens the other day as well, and then as a modern film, as far as modern films go, The Greasy Strangler, I absolutely love it. I think it's one of the best films I've seen for many years, and now I've been chatting away to The Greasy Strangler, to Michael, and it's just weird. And it's like we were talking about earlier about technology. It's where 20 years ago you couldn't really do it.
No.
But now everyone's so accessible.
Which is good. Which is good for film projects.
Of course it is. It's absolutely great. Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, and everyone I was talking to has been absolutely lovely, apart from one person who I'm not going to mention, obviously. But but everyone's been so nice. And for me, being a massive Argento fan as well. Barbara Mignolfi, who played Olga, who was absolutely lovely as well. it's just bizarre for me, who is essentially no one, to be talking to these people.
Dario Argento and everybody else that started us as so-called no ones, and look where
That's
they are
true.
now. So.
That's true. But I think they probably had an inkling of what they were doing. And I've got all these great ideas, and I love writing, and I love directing. Hate producing, hate it with a passion.
Yeah, finding all the money and sorting everything out. It's so much
exactly,
fun.
finding no money and trying to organise things. And my wife will be the first person to tell you that I can't organise anything. She keeps saying, she's like, how are you doing this, Tony? Because you're crap. At organising anything.
You got your harshest critic at home.
Yeah, well, exactly. You do though, don't you?
Yeah.
And she obviously says it in a funny way. But she's right. I don't really know.
You believe she's saying it.
I think so. But I don't really know how I'm doing it. All I know is it's getting there slowly. It's progressing. So we've so that's kind of where we are with it. It started off as this narrative, ghost hunting narrative. I play a character called Fisher Markway, whose names are from, any ideas?
Marcus Fisher.
Fisher Markway. Fisher and Markway. One's from The Legends of Hell House, and one is from The Haunting.
Oh, Fisher. Okay. I was going to go. When you said Fisher, I was going to go Terence Fisher from Hammer.
Which would have been great as well. Actually, which would have been fantastic. Yeah. No, but I just tried a few little. And I really like those two films, and I thought he's a ghost hunter, and I wanted to give him quite a cool name, so I thought Fisher Markway sounded quite cool. And he's a goon. He's an idiot. He doesn't really know what he's doing, Fisher. He's totally out of his depth. So it starts off as a sort of Wicker Man type tribute almost, but then he's got his job. He's got a podcast about his ghost hunting, but he's not very good, and he's kind of mildly successful. He's got a couple of thousand followers, I suppose, maybe, but it's not really doing him any favors. And he goes to this sort of village. He hears about this a cult member, a cultist who's died, who was quite well known. So he thinks, well, I'm going to go to this house, break the police tape when it's quiet. I'm going to see if I can contact him, or at least I'll be able to make a podcast and actually maybe get some more viewers. That's the sort of narrative. And then from there, everything starts unraveling and going a little bit wrong for him. But then as well, we've got a kind of very much a sort of postmodern edge to it as well, where we get a lot of people playing themselves, and then I sort of come out of character, and you see me as the director occasionally. It's very basically, when I was talking to Michael St. Michael's the other day, I said, look, I'm only going to make one film as far as I'm aware or concerned at the moment, and this is going to be the film I want to make for myself, And Michael said that's exactly what Jim, the Greasy Strangler director, has said. He said, I'm making this film. I think it's funny. I think it's good. And it doesn't, it's not going to be overly popular. It's not going to be, the next Marvel film or whatever. But I think it's going to find someone who appreciates it. And even if it's like 0.01% of the population, that's still enough of the population for me to sort of be justified.
Well, do projects that you have a passion for, as opposed to just doing it for the money, because people can tell.
Exactly. I think you can always tell if someone says, "Right, I'm going to make a cult film." Well, you can't make a cult film.
Exactly.
You can stick to your guns and make a film that other people might grasp. I think that's where I come from. Yeah. So I just wanted to make what I want to make, and hope that someone enjoys it.
Okay, so 3 questions in regards to this. 1, it's a short film. If it's successful, say on the festival circuit, if you went that way,
let me stop you there. It was a short film.
Oh.
It was a short film. It's looking like a feature now.
Oh, that kind of scraps my next question then.
Well, yeah, if it's successful on the festival circuit, would you consider sort of elongating it?
Yeah.
Thing is, I probably, I mean, it's easy to say no, but it's only become bigger because I've added things I've wanted to add.
Yeah.
I didn't think to myself, oh, this is 50 minutes. If I just stretch it out another 20 minutes.
Oh, I don't like those ones where they stretch it out specifically.
Exactly.
It doesn't work.
So that's what I wasn't going to do. So I said, well, it's going to be the length it is, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think the more stuff that's gone on, the more people that have come on board, the more my sort of cogs have been turning. And then I keep thinking, oh, that would be good if I did this or something like that. And then right, what's it? And then I've written it in. So yeah, I think you're probably looking at about 1 hour 20, I would imagine. See, what does annoy me, what I want to sort of clarify a little bit as well is when you get, because obviously I've got these great people in it, and I'm aware of the fact that sometimes you get films. I won't mention any names, but there was one quite recently I think everyone was really looking forward to because it had everyone in it.
Yeah.
Michael Berryman was in it, and everyone, you know, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I know which film you're on about. Yeah.
And it's like you watch it and you think, well, why were they in it? It doesn't. It could have been anyone. It doesn't mean anything. So everyone who's in Witches of the Sands is in it for a specific reason, and their scenes have been written for horror fans, but also I think it'll work for people who don't necessarily get the references.
Yeah.
But it's definitely written with horror fans in mind, like myself. He'll enjoy the fact that these people are in it for a reason, and not just to put their name.
So here's such and such.
Exactly.
Who are doing, I don't know, the waiter of something. It's just
exactly
anybody could do it, or you just got this named person in there for the sake of it, because potentially it gives it a bit more publicity, but doesn't always work that way.
No, exactly. So I really wanted it. I really wanted the people I got for a reason. The one person I couldn't get, unfortunately, was Michael Berryman. Funnily enough, because I wrote a great scene with him in mind, and no one else can really do it because of the writing and a specific reference to one of his characters. So I kind of had to scrap that, unfortunately, but it was a union thing. He couldn't do it, so which was a shame. But yeah, so yeah, I can't remember when. I've lost my thread. Sorry.
So, well, the other thing I was going to say was, the original question was going to be, if you elongated it into a feature film, would you figure going the crowdfunder route for it? Because obviously, finding money in this economy at the moment is tough as it is.
It's not fun. Would you know what? I have been thinking about it. What put me off originally was that I see people. I could imagine it. Oh, Tony Mardon's asking for, I don't know what, $5,000 for to make a film. And people are like, well, who's Tony Mardon? What's he done before? And we'll go, I want nothing. You know, it's like, why am I going to give him some money?
Star of Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. Star of the bridge scene. Yeah, a guy walking past on a Jaguar advert once. You know, it's just like, don't.
You'd be surprised if people are sold by the say like the poster or a picture or just see who's cast in the film. People will. I think
this is what I'm thinking about. Now I've got the cast and I've almost got enough. I mean, I've got plenty. I mean, I'm just trying to think about getting a trailer together. That's a little way off, I think. But there's definitely I'm confident that the product at the end is going to be worthwhile now, and a good product, a good film. So I'm more confident now in asking people to fund it. Yeah. Whereas before, I think it was being a bit scared.
Yeah.
You know, and I am scared still. You know, the bigger it's got, the more pressure is kind of landing on my shoulders. But yeah, I think it's definitely something. I have been looking into it, so if there is a possibility, because there's one actor again as well I really want. I won't say who, but I think it'd be a lot of money, and but it would just be so perfect for the film. Absolutely, I mean, it's just ridiculous. Just even, I mean, even his name and one of the films he's been in, it would just, I could just do so much with it, but it's not very likely. So yeah, a fundraiser, you know, raising some funds, I think would be good. But I think I also feel, I think people haven't got much money at the moment.
Not at the moment, no.
But this is, and I feel it's a bit like when I used to run a lot of marathons and ultra marathons and stuff, and you'd be the race organisers like London and stuff. They'd encourage you to raise money, almost expect it. You know, what charity you run. The first thing everyone asks for is, what charity are you running for? What charity are you running for? And unless you sort of get a charity place, you don't have to. But then, and so I started to stop because I felt guilty, because I can't constantly keep asking my mum and dad and people around me for money. It's like, you've done 20 marathons. We know you can do it. Why am I going to give you money?
Stop running. You're not Forrest Gump.
Yeah. You know, you enjoy it. You know, I appreciate you doing it for charity, but so on that sort of level, I don't really like doing it. It's like I say, especially now with the economy as it is. But I suppose with the fundraiser, people only do it if they can afford to, don't they? So
yeah,
and they get perks. We like perks.
So we can talk about that later on if you want. So we'll go on to your next question, which was, what advice would you give to people wanting to get into the film industry? So you can talk about both aspects of it if you want, whether you want to talk as the actor and the directing and everything.
Yeah, no, see, directing is great. Just don't become a producer without any money. I think for the answer to both I think if you want to make a film, what I've discovered now is obviously you can make a film because all you need is your camera phone.
Yeah, it's a hell of a lot. It's a lot easier now.
Exactly. So, you know, in your iMovie, and you can edit it on your phone, and you can, you know, and that's that. So there's nothing really stopping anyone from making a film. That's what I did. Actually, when at the beginning of lockdown, I made a little short film on my phone about a man. It's called Devil's Candy, and it was about a man who had Percy Pig-shaped nipples.
Was you in lockdown a bit too long?
Yeah, that was right. That was right at the start of lockdown. That was the funny thing. So I'd keep disappearing into my studio in the garden, and at one point I couldn't get the Percy Pigs to stick on my chest, so I actually super glued them to my. I super glued them to my nipples. That was interesting. But that was but that kind of that was quite. I really enjoyed it, and it's such a bizarre kind of. Again, it's like 15 minutes. It doesn't really make any sense, but people actually quite enjoyed it still, and the characterization, and the people actually found it quite sad in the end, which was kind of what I was going for, even though it's a ridiculous concept.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so back to the question. I've just, if you want to make a film, then make a film. And then I suppose where I was lucky is I know lots of great people, because of doing the acting.
Yeah.
Mainly. And what's nice about the people I know is, I think, you know, as someone starting to act, you do a lot of stuff for free. Because you want to do it and you want the experience. Yeah. And then I think if you're, you know, I was always happy to do that. And I think if you do things for other people, and if you're happy to put yourself out for other people, then people tend to be happy to put themselves out for you as well.
And they'll remember you. Remember you as well. So.
Yeah, exactly. I don't mean they're doing it in return, because I'm sure they do it anyway. But you know, I think you build up a relationship with people. And if you know, so I had these great people around me to help me with my film. So I suppose So yeah, don't be an arsehole to people. would be my biggest bit of advice, because they're more likely to help you if you're not a total twat.
Yeah.
But did you know, actually, funny thing is, The Witches of the Sands abbreviates, which I didn't realise when I gave it the title, to twats, which I
Oh, yeah, it does.
which I didn't realise, but now I'm just using it everywhere. I'm going to hashtag twats, fans of twats,
Yeah.
fans of twats. Which I really like. I want to get a twats face mask.
Why not?
Twats face coverings.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, which was kind of perfect for the film. I really liked that. And so when I was reading it, I didn't realise. So that was a nice little surprise. Yeah, so just don't be a twat to people. And in terms of acting, you see, extras work is very different. If it's a different, if you want to be an extra, be an extra. If you want to be an actor, be an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I think I started off doing extras work, and I thought to myself, right, I want to become an actor. So I went to get acting lessons. I didn't think I was going to become an actor because I was an extra.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. So yeah, I get acting lessons, and I suppose you have to go on Star. And again, don't be an arsehole is obviously my main is my main bit of advice. But yeah, Star now. You're going to do stuff for free.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, and if you're not prepared to do that, you're not going to get very far.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're I don't know, Michael Caine, and you're a really great actor. But be prepared to put yourself out for people, I think, and people are more likely to put themselves out for you.
Yeah,
I would say.
I'd say that's sound advice.
And put once you've got the part. I mean, I shouldn't really be talking about this, because I feel like a total fraud, because I don't really know how I've got where I am, which isn't really anywhere. It's it's just where I am, if that makes sense. I'm just here and I'm doing what I'm doing. So I'm not really in a position to give anyone advice, because I don't feel like I think Keely, my wife, would be the first person to say this. I mean, I'm never satisfied with anything I do. It doesn't matter what I've done.
Well,
I just want to do something else. So
in a way, that's actually quite good, because it shows you don't have a giant ego. You can say, for instance, look, I've worked with and you look at your IMDb or whatever, and you're like, okay, so they've done, I don't know, 20 films or whatever. Why are their ego speaks? Because there is people like that out there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's always people who. I mean, I think I think this sort of job or this sort of work there's a fine line between kind of promoting yourself and wanting to and doing what you need to do to get the next role.
Yeah.
And being on the other side of that, you can go too far and come across a bit like a cocky.
Yes.
Yes. And you've got to be a bit careful with that. So I think I'm sure I know for a fact I've done it. I think at the beginning I thought, I've got a part in Beyond Fury, I've got loads of lines, and I'm sure I've done it. But things at first, I think it's when you've grown up watching films, it was exciting for me, So I probably did bore people with it on Facebook and in face to face.
Yeah.
But I think as long as you can take a step back and realise learn from that, and
that's the main thing, is learning
rein yourself in a little bit. I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to, actually, is which I can say is, whenever it goes ahead, is that I'll be playing the Prime Minister in Slasher House 3 for Maiko. It's only a tiny little bit. We had a script read through. So yeah, I'm allowed to say that. That's fine. Yeah, which would be good. And I really admire, people like MJ and Maiko and all these low budget people. Low budget people. Sorry, low budget filmmakers.
You've been in lockdown. We understand.
Yeah. Just what they have to do to put out the quality.
Yeah.
That everyone's putting out, like Ice Cream on the Beach and the Maiko films and everything like that.
well, who knows? Who knows with the Witches of the Sands once it's finally out there? Who knows what will happen after that?
Well, exactly. I'll tell you who else is going to be in it. I haven't announced it yet. It's a reality TV star who's coming down in October to shoot down in Whitstable. And her name is Lisa Appleton, and she writes a column for The Star.
Yeah.
And through Phil Rogers, he knows the agent, and he said, "Oh, she might be interested." So I said, "Yeah, cool. Let's have a chat." And it worked out really well because there's a part in a dream sequence I'm playing that my character's in, and there's a sort of a model being photographed on the beach, very much like Tenebrae.
Mhm.
And
that's the first thing that popped into my head, actually.
Yeah, exactly. It's a definite nod to Tenebrae, and she'd be perfect for it. But why I brought that up is that because she works for The Star, she has a sex advice column.
Yeah.
I think she's bringing the photographers down. So that scares the life out of me because, you know, I know they're going to be there photographing her, but they're going to be photographing her because of the film.
Mm-hmm.
So not only do I have to make sure everything is 100% looking professional and COVID friendly, obviously, which I would anyway, I hasten to add, that it's all got a little bit scary all of a sudden. But I don't know, you know, what will happen through that.
It's good publicity. And that's all what films want in the end. Is publicity.
Exactly. So. And I'm really looking forward to the scenes. It's quite a funny one. See, the narrative, it starts off, the first 2/3 are quite tongue-in-cheek.
Mm.
It's not until the last third of the narrative that everything gets quite unpleasant. And there's other parts, not just that, there's other parts of the film as well, which I won't go into because I don't even know how to describe it. People keep asking, when I've been talking to some of the actors, they say, well, so what is it about? I'm like, I'm dreading this question. I tried to write a synopsis. Yeah. And even that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me, let alone anyone else. So,
oh dear.
And yeah, is there a script? I said, well, there was a script, but it's so redundant now that no. I say no, and they're like, oh. So I don't know.
Okay, well, we'll come up to your last question because you talk about press. So this is now an opportunity to promote yourself. So if your YouTube channel, you can promote that. If you have a website, promote that. If you want people to stalk, do you want people to stalk you on social media? Yeah, please stalk me on social media. Instagram is Witches of the Sands, as is Facebook, Witches of the Sands Facebook page. If you're really desperate to talk to me, for whatever reason, you know, I'm not the most interesting person in the world, but my Facebook is Tony Mardon and my Instagram is Tony Mardon. You're more than welcome to hop on. But yeah, obviously the main pages for the films are the that was Freudian. The Witches of the Sands, Instagram and Facebook pages. Yeah, so that's kind of where we are at the moment. I've also done I'm just in the process of did a little funny little thing with Michael St. Michael's the other day. We've just done a little Wear Your Masks film, which I'm just editing together at the moment, which is quite funny. So I think we're going to try and get that out as soon as possible. Yeah. Just as a little funny bit of promo. Obviously, important message: wear your masks, but also a little promo for the film as well. So got that to come out. Other than that, yeah, Instagram and Facebook. I haven't got a web page yet because that involves some sort of organisation and technical ability, or money to get someone else to do it, none of which I have. All those three things are missing from my arm. Okay, well, unless you've got anything else to say, we'll wrap this up. No, thank you very much.